Ron Filipkowski has written an amazing article called Jim Jordan's Essay Cover-Up Explained regarding Jim Jordan's time as Ohio State's assistant wrestling coach from 1986 to 1994. Over 177 of his athletes complained that they had been essayed by a team doctor. Jordan claims that he didn't know about any of it. I never saw, never heard of, was never told of any kind of essay abuse. But his own former wrestlers, young men entrusted into his care by their families, say that Jordan is lying, and he actively worked to persuade them not to come forward to report the abuse to authorities. Had that been done early on by Jordan, dozens of young men would have been spared becoming future victims. 6 of Jordan's wrestlers told Politico in 2018 that sexually aggressive men who either worked at the university or attended it were constantly preying on the young wrestlers. They would touch themselves inappropriately while watching them in the shower and engage in sex acts in front of them where they were trained. One wrestler said he knows Jordan was aware of these things because he would yell at them to get out of the shower area while they were doing it. One former coach who worked with Jordan told Politico it was a cesspool of deviancy. Former champion Dunyasha Yetz said he told Jordan about the abuse from Dr. Strauss and asked Jordan if he would accompany him to the doctor's office after he was injured because he was worried what he might do. Yetz said, "For him to say he didn't know, I asked him to come in there with me." Former wrestler Sean Daly told NBC News he was groped by Strauss on multiple occasions and said Jordan was present when people complained about him. "I participated with Jimmy and other wrestlers in locker room talk about Strauss. It was very common knowledge in the locker room that if you went to Dr. Strauss for anything, you would have to pull your pants down. To say he had no knowledge of it, that's kind of hurtful." End quote. Even Jordan's supporters said he knew. Former UFC champion Mark Holdman, quote, "There's no way, unless he's got dementia or something, that he's got no recollection of what was going on. I have nothing but respect for this man. I love this man, but he knew." End quote. Tito Vasquez told CNN that after Strauss fondled his genitals when he went to see him about a bloody nose, he immediately reported it to Jordan. He said Jordan responded, "I have nothing to do with this," end quote, and continued on with his practice. Vasquez said, quote, "When he pretends now that he had no knowledge of it, that's betrayal in the highest level," end quote. Former wrestler Dan Ritchie said he was present when Jordan was informed of abuse from Strauss, and his only response was, quote, if he did that with me, I'd snap his neck like a twig of dried balsa wood," end quote. Ritchie said, quote, "When he heard Jim say he wasn't aware, everyone just thought, are you kidding?" End quote. This is literally the front runner for the Speaker of the House.